We work so you can play.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Warhammer 40k League Battle Report. As always, my name is Jay, and once again, I am joined by
Neil
from
England,
land of Warhammer 40k. Now you're saying, how many Games Workshops were near your old house?
There's a good 3 or 4 within sort of 10-minute drive.
There aren't 3 or 4 in Ontario, Canada. So that's a big distinction, and you'll recognize the other guy. Of course, it is
Epic Duck Mike.
Epic Duck Mike. Quack. Yeah. And today we have another game of Warhammer 40k for you, obviously. And what armies are you bringing?
My sisters with some Inquisitors.
Inquisitors. So are you going to use the new supplement?
That's right. Yep.
All right. Awesome stuff. And you?
Necrons.
Necrons. Always fun with Mike with Necrons. And 1,500 points? 1,500. And we haven't rolled yet to see what type of game or deployment yet. So without further ado, we'll get to the armies and the deployment.
All right, so we'll begin with 1,500 points of Adepta Sororitas with Inquisition allies. Remember, for a full game list, please check out our pre-game show for this particular battle report. As you can see, he's loaded with a lot of models, a couple Inquisition, some Exorcists, and an Aegis defense line. And now 1,500 points of Necrons, led by Epic Duck Mike. Once again, for a full list, check out our pre-game show. With the Royal Court, some Warriors, Immortals, Lich Guard, a Destruction Barge, and they roll to see what type of game type. It is 3, Big Guns Never Tire. And for deployment, he rolls a 5. So for table quarters, Vanguard Strike. And then we'll see if Night Fighting goes off the table. So he rolls, and it's a 3. No night fighting. They roll off for first, and Mike wins, and he just chooses to go first.
150 bucks in the metal. Okay.
Yeah, no.
So here is what the battlefield looks like after deployment. As you can see, the Necrons all lined up against their line, ready to go and attack the sisters. On the other end, are they off the table?
They're going to infiltrate.
Because otherwise, that's a silly deployment.
No, they're...
I respect that, though. I'm not making fun of them. I'm just saying they're not even in their deployment zone, and they're facing their rear to the... I'm not saying anything. And here are the Sisters of Battle, all lined up against the Aegis defense line again. I love Aegis defense lines in 6th edition, and apparently so does the Sisters of Battle player. So I respect that very much. And we'll see. Will you try to CC? Just so we know, because he has Kotiaz, he can re-roll this if he wants. You can re-roll it if you want. Same exact result. So we'll see what happens in turn 1.
So now it's Necrons, turn 1. So he decides not to move the Annihilation Barge since it has a good line of sight, and it's better if you don't move it. And then he moves up his Warriors and Immortals just to close the gap between the Necrons and the Adepta Sororitas. Necrons are very good from a middle range, not very good from a long range. And moves up his Ripper Swarms, as I call them. Of course, they're Scarabs, but I like to call them the Rippers. And they're really fast. And he deep strikes that unit because he has the Veil that can allow him to deep strike. And they hit perfectly, so that moves the Lich Guard up quickly, but it does put them in a very easy blast spot. And move up the Warriors so that they can go and go for either objective if they want. So he's going to try to give a boon to the Immortals. And it's a 4. So that gives them increased ballistic skill, I believe. And then he drops the pie plate on top of the vehicle. It does scatter, but still clips the edge. It penetrates, but he rolls a cover save, and it's good. And then he just keeps shooting at the other tank. Gets several wounds. He rolls his cover saves. He's shooting at the sisters behind the Aegis defense line, and he removes all of them except for the HQs. And 1 heavy weapon, so no first blood yet. And then he runs his Scarab Swarm so that they can go and attack next turn and do some destruction. So now it's Adepta Sororitas, turn 1. So he does his reroll to hit. Faith, it goes off. Or sorry, Psychic Power, and he's going to put it on one of the Exorcists. And then the same thing over there, and he puts it on the other Exorcist. Next, all his guys just move up to go to man the gun, and he moves up his Exorcist so that they can all get shots off at his barge. See, the barge is going to be pretty nasty since it ignores cover, and one direct shot can actually end up destroying it if he gets pretty lucky. He'll need a 5-tick glance and a 6 to pen on the front armor of the Annihilation barge, but still he can get lucky and pop it in turn 1 and get first blood. And then St. Celestine runs up to go move up and just stay away from the Scarab Swarms. So they shoot the barge, gets 1 pen, he rolls his cover save, and he makes it, so nothing there. And then the next one shoots. Shoots the other one. It's twin linked. Hits with 3. 1 glance, so it loses 1 hull point. And the other one is going to shoot the vehicle. It gets 5 shots and hits with all of them. And it needs 5s and 6s. And gets nothing. So nothing there. And then he shoots at it 1 more time. Once again, 5 shots. All hit. He gets 2 pens. So 2 cover saves. Fails both. And it explodes. And that is first blood for the Adepta Sororitas. Plus, they get an extra point for killing a heavy. And then he shoots at the Lich Guard. Get a bunch of wounds. And he rolls his saves. And he's okay, because nothing happens. So eventually he rolls 3 up invul. And he's okay. Because the Warlord is the closest one. So he's going to take the risk, and he's going to put it on the 3 plus invul Warlord, who's the closest. And he's okay too. And then St. Celestine just runs 1 inch away from...
So here's what the board looks like after 1 turn. Basically, Necrons moved up, fired at the Sisters. They killed a bunch of Sisters over there. Didn't kill any vehicles. Then Sisters retaliated and popped the barge. Barge is gone. That's not a barge. Was that? That was a...
That was
arc.
the Doomsday Arc.
Doomsday Arc is gone now. First blood to the Sisters. Adepta Sororitas. I'm sorry, people. I'm correcting myself. And that's it. And we'll see what happens in turn 2.
And now it's Necron's turn 2. So they begin by moving up the Lich Guard so that they can go and close the gap because they all have close combat weapons. So they're going to go try to rip apart an Exorcist or maybe 2. We'll see what happens. The Immortals jump out so they can light up some Adepta Sororitas. And right now, as I said, he wants to close that gap and get it as close range as possible because Necrons are very good from a short to medium range as opposed to long range. They want to get very short, very, to medium range, and then that's where their guns are amazing. And they're good at popping vehicles since they all have guys, and on 6s they can just glance vehicles to death. So they move the Warriors as well, and then run up those Scarabs to close the gap and attack that squad, manning the gun. And then firing begins. So we start firing at that squad of Sisters, or the Dominion squad as they're called, with the HQs attached. And gets 4 6s total with the first gun. So that alone will become 12 hits. That's insane. So then he rolls his 3 up armor saves and fails the front one. So then it's just down to the Inquisition guys. And he starts rolling for the Inquisition and fails the next one. And then he goes for the Priest and fails him. So he's dead. And now it's on Inquisitor Cotiaz. And if he fails it, it is high enough strength that it will instant kill him. And he fails. So he fails one of his 2-ups and is instant killed. So Cotiaz is now dead as well. And now the Warriors are going to shoot at his vehicle as well. Gets 1 glance, 4 up cover, and fails. So 1 glance is on the first Exorcist. And then he shoots the next one. So he tries to assault them and fails. And then the Lich Guard, and then the Scarabs are able to assault the other Exorcist. They get almost hits with everything. They hit with all but 2 dice, so many attacks, so many dice. And on a 4-up, he loses armor, and he rolls almost every dice as a 4-up, so it instantly is penned so many times over, and it blows up. He rolls to see if it hurts him, and it gets 1 wound on his Scarab Swarm, and now his Adepta Sororitas, turn 2. So he rolls to see if his reserves come in. First one doesn't, and his second one does. He rolls the flank of his Dominion squad. And comes in 4, so the opposite table edge. So it's going to move up and hopefully flame some warriors. And then he just moves back his exorcists because they're getting suspiciously close to those Lich Guard who want to open up them like a can opener. And then he moves up a couple rhinos in front to provide some support. Next thing, Celestine jumps over to attack those pesky scarabs after they destroyed an exorcist. And then the shooting begins. So it does Faith first, so it gets reroll. And then he flames the scarabs, and this is going to be 2 damage because it's double damage. And it instantly kills 2 of them. And then he starts shooting. He flames the warriors and knocks down a bunch of them. Then he opens fire with them, his Dominion squad. And he's just going to try to open fire on the squad, and you'll see how many warriors get destroyed. He tries to look out, stir a bunch off his warlord, and in the end he knocks down almost the entire squad by itself. It's just down to the lord. So it's a 2-up save on the lord, and he's good. And then the rest of them. And then his Luminar Zaris takes a wound. And he's good with the other 2. And then the rest of the squad is pretty in big trouble. They better get up next turn with their res or 4+, but still. So next starts shooting at the Lich Guard squad and does 1 wound on the warlord. And then he opens fire with the other exorcist. Needs 3 to hit, gets 2 hits and 2 wounds. He lookout stirs both of them off his warlord. Passes it, so 1 falls up. And then he takes the other one, on him, and he's passes, so he's good. He's still alive, and he's pretty happy. And then he fires with the other exorcist. Basically, right now, if he can kill the warlord and knock out those Lich Guard, the Necrons are going to be in bad shape. So he takes it on the warlord, and he fails. So the warlord has 1 wound left, and the rest of them knock down 1 more Lich Guard. And then the Stormbolter doesn't do anything. And then the other one hits. And does 2 wounds. He was reroll 1s because of his faith. And he does 2 wounds. He lookout stirs. It's okay. And passes his armor. And then the other 2, he fails. And then he fails both reanimations, so both Lich Guard are gone. And then he passes about half of his warriors and loses his Cryptek. And then St. Celestine assaults the Scarab. As you kind of predict what's going to happen, she destroys it. She needs 2s to kill it. And so it kills it, and she consolidates 4 inches.
So after 2 turns, here's what the battlefield looks like. Basically, Necrons were able to do some serious damage. Those tanks over there, they're gone. But then St. Celestine was like, oh no you didn't, and destroyed them too. And over here, there was some heavy amounts of flaming. And the Necrons, half of them got back up, half of them didn't. Cryptek's gone. And yeah, so it's a bloodbath so far, and we'll see what happens in turn 3.
So now it's Necron's turn 3. Right now, Mike just wants to do as much damage as possible and inflict as much pain on those exorcists if they can get to them and keep his guys alive. So he moves his Lich Guard through cover over the objective, and he gets 6, so they get to jump right over, and he wants to go assault that Rhino and destroy it. Moves up the Immortals and the Warriors so that they can get better shots off at the tanks, maybe kill an Orc Lance a vehicle to death. And the Warriors are going to go turn around and light up those that Dominion squad that killed him. So they start firing at the Exorcist. They need 2s to hit because of the Illuminaris power. Get 2 glances, and he fails both of them, so the Rhino only has 1 hull point left. And he fires the other guns. And then he fires at St. Celestine with the Annihilation Barge. And hits her with a bunch of shots. And anyone that she fails will be instantly killed. He rolls, and she's killed for the first time in the game. So she's knocked down, and she'll be back probably next turn. And then the Warriors completely wipe out that Dominion squad. Other than 1. And then he fires the rest of the shots at them. And she's okay. She falls back, actually. She fails her thing and runs towards the table edge. And then he is able to assault the Rhino, the closest one, and he attacks, and obviously you can predict what's going to happen. The Lord alone with his crazy scythe gets 2 pens, and he rolls his invols, fails him, and it's destroyed and blows up by itself. So we'll see if it explodes. It does. And then at the distance, 1 inch, so it just hits the guys around it. It wounds a couple of them, and he fails his armor save. So the Lord alone is killed because of the explosion. That's pretty crazy. And he rolls the inside guys, and they pass their pinning check, and loses actually 1 of them. And now it is Adepta Sororitas turn 3, because the Lord did not get back up. He only rolled a 1. He needed a 4. And now it is Adepta Sororitas turn 3. One of them gets in, and it comes in on the left side. His leadership check, and St. Celestine comes back on the field. And his psychic power, he gives prescience to the tank, so that'll be really nasty. Now gets to twin linked shots, basically, on D6 number of shots. And he just moves up the rest of his guys. He's just going to try to slow down, and first he's going to light up, and then hopefully slow down the Lord, the Overlord, and his Lich Guard. Next, he just moves up his tank through the terrain. He rolls dangerous, and it passes. And then he moves up his other one through dangerous and passes too. He tries to regroup his one sister, and she falls back more because she fails. She has to roll Snake Eyes. And next, St. Celestine then decides to jump up and go for the Warlord. And I figure if you can stop it there, you can probably win the game by holding those objectives. And does Faith goes off. So it's reroll 1s, I believe. And the other Faith goes off too. So I start by flaming the squad. Majority toughness 5, so it's 4s. Or sorry, the toughness is 4, so it should have been 3s, but it's okay. So he rolls his armor saves, and they're all good. And then the bolter fire hits, and just a couple wounds. So he rolls his armor save. Or I'll have to do more armor saves in a second, because the heavy bolter stuff as well. And he rolls his armor saves, and they're all okay as well. So then he fails his first one, and so his lord is actually knocked down because he decided to keep him on him. And the rest of them are okay. So right now his Overlord and his Crypt Tech are knocked down in that squad. And now the other squad are also wiped out by shooting. And then he moves up his so he rolls the number of shots on his tanks, and then starts firing at the Immortals, since he can't fire at the Lord or the Crypt Tech. Rolls his cover saves, loses 3 of his Immortals alone to the first wave, and then more shooting, and loses a few more. Then gets flamed by the tank again. The Lord has a 2-up armor save, and passes in both, and then he keeps it on the Lord, and he fails his first one, so then he rolls up on all the guys to see if they get back up, and the majority of them actually don't. He loses a lot of them. All but 2 do not get back up, and so he loses most of his Immortals on that squad. They pass their leadership test as well. And then the Lord gets back up again, luckily, and Phylactery only comes back with 1 wound, so the Phylactery was kind of a waste. And the Crypt Deck gets up as well.
So after
nice.
4 turns, here's what the battlefield... 3 turns, here's what the battlefield looks like. Just finished bottom 3. So over here, Necron's still holding strong, but there's something guarding that objective. Over here, Necrons have taken heavy casualties, but they're still alive, and then I don't know what they're going to do. I'm curious to see. And over here, the Necrons are moving up. And Sisters of Battle are still defending, still holding strong. No one has any more reserves. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens in turn 4.
So now it is Necron's turn 4. Let's see what Mike can do to keep up in the game and get some retribution on those Adepta Sororitas. So he rolls to move through cover 3 inches, and he's going to go for that tank. He's going to shoot it and then assault it. And then he moves up his Annihilation Barge. And just moves up all of his guys. He wants to get in close combat and just do as much damage this turn in close combat as possible. There's not a whole lot left of his army. So he starts by shooting the tank. And doesn't get any glances. And then he Shoots St. Celestine. He wants to kill St. Celestine again. Gets a bunch of shots on her, and again, if she fails any of these armor saves, she will be instantly killed. He rolls his 2, so he needs 2s to wound. Gets a bunch of wounds, so he rolls his 2-up armor saves. So he rolls his 2-up armor saves, and fails them again. So she is killed, and that is finally Slay the Warlord. And the shooting continues. And he passes both of his armor saves on the Dominion squad. And he just continues the firing. He figures if he can kill that Dominion squad first. So the Dominion squad alone, first one of them is killed. And then he declares the assault with his Overlord on the Exorcist tank. And he rolls and gets plenty within. So this is on the Rhino, not the Exorcist. And then the Cryptek decides that he's going to assault the Dominion squad. They all miss with their Overwatch, and he's able to get in, luckily, because if they hit with anything, he would have been instantly killed, and it would have been gone. And he assaults the Dominion squad tank, and he's able to get in there, and you know he'll probably open it up pretty badly. So first on the one Rhino, he gets 1 pen, and he gets 2d6 on with his War Scythe. Any hits, he pens twice, fails both invols, and it's only just 2 2s. So there's 1 hull point left on it. He wasn't able to actually wreck it, and that was surprising to me. I figured he was going to wreck it. And now the Cryptek on the Sisters. Sisters get to go first. They need 4s to hit. And he gets no wounds. And the Cryptek hits back with his 2 attacks, gets 2 hits, which is crazy. 2 wounds, which is crazy. And he fails 1 armor save. So the Cryptek actually won combat and killed a Sister. And they pass their armor check, so they keep going. And then the War Scythe on the other tank first. They get 1 pen, 2 pens, and they roll 2 1s, so just 2 hull points off. And then the other guys just jump in, and they only need 1 glance, and then it will be destroyed. So 3s to hit. They get a bunch of hits, 6s to glance, 1 glance, fails its invul, so it is wrecked as well. And now it's Adepta Sororitas, turn 4. So at the moment, Niall just wants to wipe out that Warlord and take out the remaining warriors, and he'd be in good shape. So he moves up that tank and just moves around his Exorcists, because they are the hot commodity right now. They have a lot of firepower, and they're worth an extra kill point for the game. So he moves all the vehicles away and starts lighting up the... he wants to kill that Overlord, because if he can kill it, he'd be in great shape. So they fire at it. It only has 1 wound left. So they flame the Immortals. And they're okay. And then he starts shooting at the Overlord. Gets a bunch of hits. Oh, sorry, needs 6 to hit because it's snap firing. And gets a wound, and he fails. So the Overlord is knocked down, and now the question is, will he get back up again? And then he starts shooting at the other guys, hits, and tries to look at Sir, fails it. So the Lord is knocked down in the other squad. And then he knocks down a couple more in the Immortal squad. They do their armor saves. They're still okay, and he fails another. And then he does his reanimation, because they did pass their leadership. And he loses the Lord and the other guy. And the other guy continues to fall back because they forgot about him. And he fails his Overlord reanimation, so he is dead as well. And now he's removed from play, and that's a Slay the Warlord for the Adepta Sororitas. And back to close combat. He gets a wound on the Sister, and the Sister guy fails another save. So the Sisters lose another one, then they hit, and they're okay. They pass their leadership. So here's what the board looks like after 5 turns. Right now, Overlord just got slaughtered. So unfortunate that one guy wanted to go punch him in the face, but couldn't. Sad guy. This Cryptek combat, favorite of the league thus far. Heavy casualties for these guys. The other Necrons are holding up pretty strongly. And Sisters, they still have some heavy support and some troops left. So we'll see what happens. It is too close to call right now. And we'll see what happens in turn 5. And now it might be the last turn of the game, but we'll have to see. It is Necron's turn 5. Can Mike turn it around and end up scoring those objectives? So right now he starts by moving up his Annihilation Barge. And moving up his warriors, they can go back and hold at least one objective. And they will receive night fighting. Night fighting is actually still on for this turn. We forgot about that. And finally moves up his immortals to go score the middle objective. So now there's actually a chance he could win. If the game ended this turn, he should be actually okay and might actually win the game. And then he starts shooting his guys. And just with the Annihilation Barge, no 6s yet. So in the end, just gets 3 hits, 2 wounds. He rolls his armor saves. And nothing happens. So now back to that Cryptek close combat. Sisters swing first. Nothing. Cryptek hits. Needs a 3 to wound. He gets it. And then fails another one. So there's down to 1 more sister. He rolls his leadership check and passes. So that Cryptek is doing amazing. And it is now Adepta Sororitas turn 5. This may be the last turn of the game. And right now it actually looks like Necrons could win it if they score those 2 objectives. But we'll have to see. So he starts by moving up those tanks. And they're going to just hopefully go kill that Cryptek that's being pesky eventually. And he immobilizes his tank and re-rolls it, and is still immobilized right on top of the dangerous terrain, which is unfortunate. So then they jump out. Then moves the other one through terrain. I think he did psychic powers as well to give a re-rolling in there. I don't remember. So he starts shooting at the immortals again that are hidden in the cover. Get 3 wounds on them. He fails 2 armor saves and 2 fall over. And then he shoots the other exorcist at the Annihilation Barge. Gets a few hits, a couple pens. He fails his cover jinx saves, so he rolls on the chart, see if it explodes. And it doesn't. It's just wrecked and it crashes, so it's gone. And that's another heavy point for Adepta Sororitas. And then the shooting continues, and they're okay. So then he starts shooting at he wants to kill all those immortals that are hiding on that objective, so he starts shooting with the Dominion squad. Gets a bunch of hits with his bolters and heavy bolters and its meltas. Of course, they'll get cover because they're in ruins. But in the end, hits with a lot of stuff. He rolls his armor saves. Both of them are good. 1 cover save and fails. So 1 more is knocked down. There's like 1 more guy left in there. So he fires him with basically everything he has. If he can kill that 1 guy, they're gone. And it'll save him a lot of trouble. So he's able to shoot at the rest of them. Get a few more wounds. He rolls his cover save. First one's good. And he rolls 2 armor saves. And both of them are good. So the 1 guy is still alive. So he rolls his leadership check. Passes, and then his reanimations, and and then 2 out of 3 get back up again. That's pretty nice. So they're all hiding on the objective, and they'll still be able to score it. Back to the close combat. The Inquisitor jumps in, hits. Sorry, jumps in. He swings, gets 1 hit, but he's 5's wound and no wounds. And then the sister goes next, gets a hit. And a wound, and Cryptek rolls armor save and fails. So the Cryptek falls over and is knocked down. Finally, the sisters are able to beat that Cryptek after the Cryptek killed 4 of the Dominions. That's just so crazy in this step. And then they just he jumps in, connects the other guys, and they consolidate in opposite directions. The Cryptek tries to get back up again, and does not.
So here's what the board looks like after 5 turns. Right now the score is 8 points for the Necrons, 10 points for the Sisters, but if the game continues, you don't know what could happen. It's craziness. So that is the game right now, because they have 2 objectives on the Sisters. Necrons have 2 objectives. They both killed a heavy, he killed 1 heavy, the Sisters battle player killed 2 heavies, and also has first blood. That's why it's 10 to 8. And so, yeah, we'll see. Who wants to roll off for if it ends?
Go ahead.
So is it?
On a 1 or 2 it ends, 3 plus it continues. Continues. And we'll see what happens in turn 6.
So the game will continue to a turn 6. Can Mike end up winning? We'll have to see. But right now it is Necron's turn 6. So he moves the guys into cover so that they can just stay on that objective and score it and keep things safe. They decide to pick off that last sister who's running away, and they kill her. So she's gone too, just for fun sakes. And the other warriors stay there. And that was a quick turn, and now it is Adepta Sororitas, turn 6. Right now, Niall just wants to contest that one objective in the middle, or maybe table Mike, and then either one will lead to an Adepta Sororitas victory. So he drives that tank right onto there, rolls for dangerous. It's technically below the train, we just putting the tank there to know where it is. And right now it is currently contesting that objective. And the rest of the guys just move up and start shooting. So he is able to shoot the Immortals, but nothing happens. And then he shoots the rest of his guns at the Immortals. Right now he figures if he can just kill them off the objective, he's in great shape and will win the game. So since they're all toughness 4, it's 4 to wound. Gets 3 wounds. He rules. And then the rest of his shots, the heavy bolters, gets a few wounds with them. And with the multi-melta, wounds as well. So Mike has a lot of armor saves and cover saves to make. He rolls his armor saves and fails 2. So they are dead, and that's a good game. So it's a hearty handshake, and it is an Adepta Sororitas victory. So thank you very much for watching this battle report, and if you'd like to see another battle report in this Warhammer 40k League, click on the link below for a free 7-day trial to the MiniWarGaming Vault. Not only will you get access to this battle report, but you'll also get access to many other battle reports, as well as some awesome Warhammer 40k content. So until next time, this is Jay saying, happy wargaming everyone.